Blinded by the light. Wow. Karina, thank you for that wonderful introduction. It makes me sound like I did a lot more than I feel like I did. And I think that's really true, actually, because work of the Whatcom Land Trust is fundamentally a collaboration. And the role of any one person in it is largely incidental, although I would say that we have had incredible action on the part of Rand Jack, who has really been my mentor in doing this. And it's really his brilliance as a land negotiator in doing transactions that resulted in many of those wonderful protections on all those parks and many other properties. But I also want to acknowledge the dedication and sacrifice, really, in terms of personal economics and just farsightedness by the property owners of many of the properties that we've protected. The Stimpson family, particularly, the Clark family with Clark's Point granted the Land Trust conservation easement way back in about 1989. That piece of property could otherwise be a whole series of fancy houses just scattered along that shoreline, and I think that the sacrifices of families like that are there by the absence of development, and it's important to preserve those memories over time. My role in all that was sitting in long board meetings, which I think probably many of you have done in one role or another, and it doesn't feel very heroic. It's sort of mind-deadening. You go over the budgets and you vote on whether you're going to spend money on a new computer for the office or whether you're going to sign this lease or that lease. The end result, in the case of the Whatcom Land Trust, is that we have played a role in protecting nearly 20,000 acres across the county that will help us over time, I think, do our best to try to create the kind of sacred America that J. Julius was remembering. Because that's, to me, that's what we're really trying to do. We're not going to be able to get there, at least not in our lifetimes. This is a generational process, and I think it is really a very complementary and wonderful counterpoint to the work that Resources does. Resources is out confronting the issues of the day, the coal port, the oil trains, doing education. That's all critical. And I am so grateful for all the support that Resources has received here and elsewhere in the community, and I'm going to continue to put my support that way. But the Land Trust, over time, does work which is equally important, but most notable by the lack of development that takes place as a result of its work. So just keep that in mind next time you're visiting some place like the Stimpson Family Nature Reserve, or going along the Nooksack somewhere and seeing that there aren't houses built to the riverbank, that it's actually, we've been able to pull out some dikes here and there. And over time, it helps to create, hopefully, a more resilient ecosystem that will be tested sorely with climate change. So that's what the Land Trust is about, and that's why, really why I support it. It helps me to imagine a future that will be there for, excuse me, kind of emotionally invested in it too, I guess. That will be there for like my little grandchildren that are growing up here now. So thank you for nominating me for this wonderful award. I guess I just want to read one poem by Robert Sund, who is another contribution from Skagit County. We owe a lot to the Skagitonians. Robert's speaking from a place. Too many are landless in the midst of vast stretches of land. Too many have left the land that they have had. Not only the homeless are homeless. Without a steadying reference, it is easy to enter upon a misguided path. After a while, it seems life itself is without a course. It is the common daily doing of things, the making, that has to be seen and compared and known, but it can only be known against and from firm internal standing. To stand in a place means to stand by a shared belief whose value is proven by how it is reflected in fields and rivers, in mountains and valleys, in the kinds of dwellings we find ourselves in the gardens we keep or do not keep, in what we choose as we must choose. It is good to hear someone speaking of and from a place that bears the marks of being loved. Looking into such a place, help things be right side up. A field and some hills and the water running in the right direction. The woods will always have their sacred places, places where the rhythm is noticeably different, as though a circle too big to be known were moving beneath everything seen. So thank you for loving this place. That's what it needs.